Hello and welcome to this first video in this series of Logic Pro 10 plugin tutorials. I've got my little loop up here ready, and today we're going to be looking at channel EQ and effectively just looking at what everything on the EQ plugin does. So there are two ways of opening EQ. You can either open it by double clicking here on the EQ, or you can go Audio Effects, EQ, Channel EQ, and then the only option, which is Mono. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice when you open up the plugin is this graph here, and then obviously we've got some boxes up here and some numbers down here. This graph effectively just tells you what you've done using this EQ. So from left to right we have frequencies, 20 to 20,000, and up and down we have gain in decibels, so that's plus 30 and minus 30. These boxes up here effectively just relate to a dot here, so they're different frequency bands. So this dot here, if I turn them all off, you effectively can't do anything. So grey means off and blue means on. And there are two ways of editing the frequencies. You can either just grab and just drag and do whatever you want, really, just mold it to where you want, or you can pick particular frequency using these selectors here. There are three things to select from. You have frequency, so let's choose 750 Hertz. Gain, so up and down, let's choose 10.5 decibels. And then Q. So what Q is bandwidth. So you can either have a really thin, really skinny little shape, or you can just make it as wide and flat as possible. It's particularly effective when you're trying to remove particular frequencies from a mix. So if I bring this down, you can just sort of run this up and down until you find the frequencies you want to get rid of. So that's quite helpful. This button here is called the gain Q coupling. So this effectively means that if it's on and we drag, we get a sort of a little point when we drag anywhere, and if we turn it off, then we just get this sort of big chunk, which you sometimes want to use, but in most cases you don't really want to do that. You just sort of want to pick up a bit and put it where you want it, basically. Master gain on the left does exactly what it says. It just moves every frequency up and down equally. Analyzer is a frequency analyzer. So when you play your tracks back, you get a little graph coming up telling you the peaks in frequencies. So if I play this without, so you can see what it looks like without, and then with, so we get like a little frequency, little graph here. This button here, post EQ, you can click it, change it to pre-EQ, and what these basically are post EQ means that it will show the frequencies after the modification of the EQ, whereas pre-EQ will just show me the signal coming in and what their frequency levels are. So if we look at post EQ, and then pre-EQ, you'll see that around this region frequencies are lower. This button here also affects the analyzer. This is resolution, so it sort of speaks for itself where it says the amount of points. So what we just saw there was 4,096 points. If we put it to resolution low, it looks a bit more like this. So you get more of a general idea of the frequencies as opposed to more specific, as if you're using medium or high. We have a couple more things down here in this little drop down menu. There's analyzer modes, so we have peak and RMS. Peak is what we just saw, it's literally just the peaks of the frequencies, and RMS is an average of those frequencies instead of peaks. lesser decay effectively means that between every time a particular frequency is shown on the graph, it will go down by this many decibels each time. So if we put it to 30 decibels every time, and the frequencies disappear on the graph really quickly, whereas if we put it on 0, they don't go down at all, they just go up. But I like to put it on the default, which is 10. Gain Q couple strength is in relation to this button here, the gain Q couple, and it's basically just different levels of coupling. So strong means that you're more specific to the frequency, whereas light, the lighter you choose, the flatter and wider your frequency will be. Apart from this, the only other thing are the presets. You should only really use the presets when you're just trying to learn your favourite sounds and your favourite way to set up instruments. So for example, this is an acoustic guitar. Let's get acoustic guitar bright. And then you just sort of, you can just change this to however you want. You can play and change at the same time. And you can basically just manipulate it how you want and get it to sound exactly how you want. And that's all you need to know about EQ.